And today there's a key deadline New Yorkers need to know about.
Yeah, you have until the end of the day to register to vote if you want to participate in the November 2nd general election. And it's a big one this year because New Yorkers are picking the city's next mayor. Joining us now is Diane Burrows. She's the co-president of the League of Women's Voters of New York City. So Diane, good morning to you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, important time in New York City politics, right? So talk to us about the different ways that people can register to vote.
So because today is the deadline to register, today really the only way to do it is if a person has a New York State driver's license, they can go to the DMV website and register to vote quickly today. Without a New York State driver's license or a non-driver ID, you have to use the paper form. And this you just have to fill in. You can get one at the library. You can go to your Board of Elections in your borough, fill it out, make sure it gets postmarked by today or deliver it by hand to the Board of Elections in your borough.
So what about making changes to your registration? Like, let's say you move. What's the easiest way to update that information?
So now, since 2019, we actually have a new law on the books that if a person moves within New York State, or you've moved within New York State since you last voted, you do not have to do anything. Just go vote, and you're going to complete an affidavit ballot at your new poll site. So what you need to do is go to the Board of Elections website, vote.nyc, enter in your new address, and then go to that poll site, because remember, we only can vote where we're represented, which is from home. And then you do an affidavit ballot that will automatically update your address. Now, if you're coming from out of New York State, you need to get this paper form filled in today so that you can vote in New York State.
So, and the rules change depending on who you are, right? So if you're a student in New York, but you have residency in another state, can you still register to vote?
Yeah, if you're living in a dorm or an apartment and you're a student, the same deadline applies. You can make the decision if you feel like you're a New Yorker and you want to vote in New York. You've been here for 30 days. You can vote in New York. If you feel like you are really at home in the state where you came from or the county where you came from, you can vote absentee to that place. Also remember that the deadline for absentee ballot application is October 18th. If you want to do that online, again, at the Board of Elections website.
Now, you talked about the necessity to have a New York driver's license, but what about people who just moved here from out of state? They don't have a New York driver's license yet. Can they register to vote?
Remember, you do not need a driver's license or a non-driver ID to register to vote. All you need are the last 4 digits of your social security number. So that's what you would use if you don't, and you know, a lot of New Yorkers don't have driver's license. That's not a big deal at all.
You know, just looking ahead, I don't know if you know this information, kind of going off script here, but when people actually go to vote in November, is it going to be very similar to, say, the presidential election where things were done by mail? You could mail in your vote and also go in person?
Yeah, so if a person decides that they want, remember, in New York State, we have 3 ways to vote. So a person could decide to vote by absentee ballot, and you can do that now by just filling in the application online. Or you could vote early, which opens October 23rd to the 31st, or you can go on traditional election day. Now, if a person submits an absentee ballot early, let's say now or next week, and then decides, you know what, I think I really want to vote in person, you can do that because you only get 1 vote, and the vote that you do in person is the one that will be counted and will be used. The other vote will be set aside. That won't count.
Now, Diane, we mentioned earlier that New Yorkers, this is a huge election time for them because they're voting for mayor. But what other key races are voters deciding on this year?
So if you think about it, what we have is we have citywide elections. So the citywide elections that are going to be on everybody's ballot in the city is going to be the mayor, the comptroller, and the public advocate. Then by borough, we're going to be electing an enormous proportion of the city council and, of course, borough presidents, and in a few places, judges and a DA. The other important thing that's on the ballot this time, though, are 5 statewide, really important potential constitutional amendments for New York State. 2 of which, of course, at the League of Women Voters, we really care about, and they're the two amendments that deal with voting.
Right.
The one that makes absentee balloting automatic. You don't have to have an excuse. It's a no excuse absentee ballot. And the other one that reduces the amount of time from registering to vote, so that potentially, possibly, the legislature could end up giving us same-day registration and voting.
Diane Burrows, we are simply out of time. There is a lot to discuss. We'll have you back as we near Election Day to get more into those issues. You're the president of the League of Women's Voters in New York. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
You too.
You too.